All right, this is chapter later stages. So this is some battles that happened. We are not going to be like spending a ton of time on the individual battles. And I'm not going to have you like memorize them or anything like that. All right, so in which battle did the French forces declare they shall not pass? There's some Gandalf situation going on here. Masurian Lakes, Verdun, Somme, Marne. They shall not pass. World War I later stages. Battles at Tannenberg and Masurian Lakes. I want to say this in German so bad I can't. While Germany, Tannenberg. It's Tannenberg. The hardest part when you speak German as like any other language is this R, because I don't know where people think that somewhere along the way people think that Germans actually make a hard R sound, like they do the thing, and that doesn't happen. Like you barely hear the R. Like Tannenberg, you almost don't hear it at all. All right. Anyways. While Germany was attacking France, two separate Russian armies attacked Austria-Hungary and East Prussia. The Russian armies were huge, but they were very poorly trained, equipped, and led. The two Russian commanders hated each other and did not cooperate well. Messages were sent over wireless radio transmitters and were not coded, which enabled them to be intercepted. The German army essentially destroyed both Russian armies, first at Tannenberg and then later at Masurian Lakes. So just bad. So we've got 20th Russia's First Army, 2000. Okay, defeat the Germans. Then Ludendorff's 150,000 troops retreat south. Russian First Army never receives orders to assist Second Army, or did it start here? Francois attacks left flank. Ludendorff strategically positions troops based on intercepted communications. Russian Second Army, 150,000 troops outflanked. So basically they're coming down. They're surrounding them. Being outflanked is when you send people around the sides. And you end up essentially kind of surrounding them, almost. All right, Verdun. By 1916, the German commander-in-chief had decided to attack and destroy the famous complex of fortresses at Verdun, which controlled access to eastern France. So, where are we at? All up in here? Oh, there's Verdun, right there. So this is probably a pretty critical point in here. The intent was to kill huge numbers of French troops and end the stalemate which had developed. In February 1916, the Germans launched massive attacks against the French at Verdun and sent waves of troops to wipe out the French defenders. French reinforcements were sent in, and Germany made a few real gains. With their rallying cry of "they shall not pass," the French were able to keep the Germans from advancing. Losses on both sides were high. The battle cost the French 400,000 casualties, and the Germans about 320,000 casualties. That's bananas. Think about it. This is almost 500,000, which would be 500,000. That's crazy. All right, so first one is Verdun. Well, there's probably a French way to, spelled wrong, to pronounce this. Oh my god. This is not okay. Pronounce this. Ugh. All right, which of these sites was the scene of a Russian defeat? Well, we know Tannenberg, so we should probably read about the Masur. Wait, no. I think it said Masur. Did it say Masurian Lakes up here? Yep, right here. The German army essentially destroyed both Russian armies, first at Tannenberg and then later at Masurian Lakes. So, right there, it's that one. All right. Which army simply dissolved and quit fighting? I'm trying not to, like, for some reason this year, this is hilarious to me. Like, you're just like, nope, not doing it anymore, bye. I'm done. Bloodbath at the Somme. The British hoped to break the stalemate near the Somme River in northeastern France. They launched a massive artillery barrage of 1.6 million artillery shells against the entrenched German forces. The German troops moved underground and avoided most of the damage from the barrage. The British troop advance was met with a massive force. More than 60,000 British troops were wounded or killed on the first day. When the battle finally ended later in the year, think about that. It's not just like one battle. It's like continuous, like later in the year. It's craziness. The British had suffered 420,000 casualties. The French lost 195,000, and the German defenders suffered 650,000 casualties. And no real progress was made. So, yeah. Good job, guys. You did nothing. Alright, other battles. A fierce battle was fought in 1915 on the Gallipoli Peninsula in Turkey, where British forces were trying to keep open a narrow waterway that supplied Russia. The British forces were defeated by the Turks with a loss of okay, so hang on. Turkey is Ottoman Empire, all right? So we put together, right? Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Ottoman Empire are working together. So don't get confused when it says Turkey. This is Ottoman Empire. All right. Okay. And obviously they want to keep it open because the British are working with the Russians. So they need a way to get to Russia. All right. The British forces were defeated by the Turks with a loss of 214 British and Allied casualties and 300,000 Turkish soldiers. The British won a bitter and costly sea battle at Jutland near Denmark in June 1916, which gave them clear command of the seas for the rest of the war. The third battle at, Ypres in Belgium had the same effect as the battles at Verdun and the Somme. Massive casualties on both sides, but no clear victory. This Gallipoli one, you'll end up hearing about when we talk about World War II. One of the leaders, Winston Churchill, was in this, and it was a mess. And he got a very bad reputation for it, and so he had to, you'll see. All right, so the Gallipoli campaign. So this, where are we at? Each round. Okay, so we've got some ships. Woo, look at all the ships. Okay. Turkish forces. So where are they at? Oh, in here. Okay. In here. All right. Took place, Gallipoli, Turkey, from blah blah blah. A joint British Empire French operation was mounted to capture the Ottoman capital of Constantinople, secure a sea route to Russia. The attempt failed, with heavy losses on both sides. So no sea route to Russia. Suggested game used. Oh, this is, I guess a game. All right. The end of the war. The Russian army simply dissolved as the war dragged on. By the end of 1917, the Russian army and nation were no longer willing or able to fight. A revolution had removed the Tsar, Russia's ruler, from the throne. By early 1918, Russia had signed a peace treaty with Germany. They were like, nope, done. Thank you for putting that in there, so I didn't have to type it. So Russia, there was a massive campaign going on here. And to get this guy out. And he did a lot of mess. That was a bad idea. So they had their own kind of revolution to worry about. All right. Who defeated the British forces on the Gallipoli Peninsula? Yeah, Turkey. Who was the Tsar? This was Russia's ruler. All right. How many troops did the United States send to fight in World War I? All right. That's our next part. There we go. U.S. enters the war. We do have a full chapter on this. The entrance of the United States into the war turned the tide for the Allies. 2 million U.S. troops were sent to France, where they fought as an independent force under American leadership. In a series of battles at the Second Battle of the Marne, Argonne Forest, and St. Michael, the Germans realized that they could not match the American forces. Germany was losing on other fronts as well as in Bulgaria, Turkey, and Italy. So pretty much, like, they come in and they've got a lot of, like, fresh soldiers that had not been in this back and forth the whole time. And so they were more willing, they were, like, in higher spirits in a sense. And of course, America. I mean, look at Uncle Sam here, not having any of it. Basically, the Germans sunk the Lusitania, and yeah, this is the exact vibe right here. Obliteration happened. All right, 2 million for number 6. About how many soldiers were killed in World War I? We're in here. Armistice. The Germans agreed to an armistice, or peace agreement, on Allied terms, which took effect on November 11th, 1918 at 11 a.m. World War I, the costliest war in human history up to that time, was finally over. Nearly 10 million soldiers were killed, and at least 21 million more were wounded. So 10 million. When did the armistice take effect? I already forgot. November 11th, 1918. November 1918. The peace treaty ending World War I tried to punish which country? All right. No one knows how many civilians were killed or injured by the war, but estimates suggest there were at least as many civilian deaths as military deaths from disease, starvation, war-related causes. Most of the nations in Europe were financially ruined and owed massive war debts. The Treaty of Versailles, the peace settlement which followed the war, was very punitive toward Germany and aimed to punish the country. This planted the seeds for the future war. So, Germany. So, if we all remember, I said something before about who started the war. And guess who it was? Not Germany. And so the Germans are gonna be mad in this treaty. After the treaty, I mean. In which battle did the British try to end the stalemate with Germany? That was up. Why would I put these all kinds of out of order. That was France. There it is. The Somme. So the British hoped to break the stalemate near the Somme River. So Battle of the Somme.